Hello everyone. Hello Shawn. How are y'all doing today?
Hey Chris, hey guys, welcome to this podcast does not have a name, episode 25 for March 23rd, 2022. Hope you're all doing well. What's new, Chris?
What's new? I guess
What's new? What's up? What's new?
what's up? What's new? Not much. Uh, I had my week off. Oh, I guess I was kind of starting it last podcast, but the rest of it went off. I didn't win the lotto or anything like that, so I had to go back to work.
Damn it.
So rip. um, it is what
You
it
played the
is.
lotto?
Yeah, sometimes. Not often. I'm not really a big gambler type of person, as we've kind of discussed before, like with me and
Mhm.
the whole outlook from Vegas and stuff like that. Just, ugh. But every now and then I'll buy the lotto. I haven't in like almost 2 years since, you know, all this has been going on, right? So, but I would probably average 3 or 4 maybe tickets in a year. Like, just like, oh, it's a lot. Yeah, why not? I'll throw $5 in, whatever, right? It's kind of like you'll never win if you don't actually go in, but whatever, right? I know not to get into that. I'm not a gambling type person.
Yeah, it's like you're right. You'll never win if you don't take your shot, but at the same time, the chances are so infinitesimal. What's the word I'm looking for? Infinitesimally small. I think that's the right
I
word. I think I
think
fucked it
so.
up. So yeah, it's like you have such a small chance to win, but then like you talk to the winners who've actually won like $1 million, and they tell you, well, you know, they wouldn't have won if they didn't try. But then I've heard people say, lottery is basically a tax for the stupid, essentially, and like they don't sugarcoat their argument at all. So I'm kind of torn. It's like, yes, you'll never win if you don't take your shot, but at the same time, you probably will never win. I think I'm not sure. I think like statistically, I could be wrong about this, but this could be very wrong. So don't blame me, anyone, if I'm wrong about this. I read that like you're more likely to get hit by a lightning strike than you are to win the lotto.
No,
So
probably.
whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm not making that claim. It's just something I read and just something that kind of stuck in my mind. But yeah, just something to think about if that is true.
Yeah, but I don't play anywhere near that often for it to matter. It's more like, $5, whatever. You know,
Mhm.
spend it here. I go buy coffee, which I could just brew at home. So
Right. Speaking of which, in Canada at least, there's Timmy's Roll Up the Rim to Win. Have you got anything good out of it yet, Chris?
I've only had 2 coffees from it. I even forgot it happened. So I
Oh, okay.
think if I've got any rolls, it's was from last week, but I didn't bother to look at my app since I bought those coffees. Like yesterday, I think I was like, oh, I could go get a coffee today. I was like, or I could just, and I turned around and turned on my coffee maker. Just made a coffee there because it's cheaper. I've already got it sitting there, right? The only
Yep.
difference is going out for that walk to get the coffee, right? So, or I could brew it and then go for a walk.
I don't drink coffee. That's not to say I'll never drink coffee or I haven't drink coffee, but it's pretty rare. Like I'll go into Tim Hortons app and see if there's any like coupons.
Hmm.
Because this year is so stupid. I think they only count breakfast sandwiches for extra roll. Like if you order it on your app, they count as one order. Sorry, one roll. I meant to say, no matter what you order, that's like a bonus roll. But like the only rolls you get this year, I think, are from like breakfast sandwiches. That includes like burritos or wraps or whatever. And I think maybe coffees, maybe not even coffees.
Coffees
That's it.
should always count. That's all I've really
They
gotten.
should, but like I don't think I was reading the rules this year on their app. I'm not sure they do. I'm gonna check as we go along.
That's
I could be
really
wrong, but
It's really dumb because it's known for, it's called roll up the room for a reason. You roll up your coffee
exactly,
room.
exactly. I know. I agree with you. I'm
And
just
the
like,
and the visuals on the app is them rolling the rim of your coffee. So,
exactly. But yeah, honestly, COVID was not a good thing. But if there was something good to extract from it, it's the fact that so many people have like digitized a lot of things like more rapidly than would have happened naturally,
mm,
including the roll up the rim. Like before COVID, it was like I think the first year of COVID or like the first month or two, they're still like having the physical roll up the rim cups. Now it's just like you get on your phone. It's much more convenient. Your
Yeah.
prize are stored on here. You don't have to worry about losing it. You don't have to worry about ripping it out or like because you'd have to finish drinking your coffee, then unroll. Then
Then
if
rip.
oh I won, I have to like rip it and then I have to keep it and then make sure I don't
Then you have to
misplace it.
hand the person at the Tim Hortons a now coffee stained, filthy piece of your coffee cup to them, which
Yes,
is
yes,
bloody gross and disgusting.
exactly.
It's it's so dumb. But yeah, uh, what else I was doing? I worked on the new background. I need to tweak it. I think I'm gonna thin out the Thunderbolt a little bit more.
Yeah, so those of us, or those of you rather, who are just listening to this, we have a new kind of background on the stream version of the podcast. And before it was just Chris, he made like a really good picture. It was like half a Dragon Ball, half a material from Final Fantasy VII to kind of signify, you know, Chris being the Dragon Ball, I'm the material essentially. But now he made the same thing, except he took, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, you're the one who made it. So feel free to interrupt me at any
Hmm.
time. But it looks like from what I could tell, Chris, from your post on Twitter, you took a globe like of the world. You took just like the round sphere portion of it. You literally painted half of it as a Dragon Ball and half of it as a materia. And then now it's spinning around in our background. You did
Yeah.
some sort of stop motion with it.
No, I just filmed it and had my hand behind the globe, slowly inching it with my fingers. Because if you look at it, you'll see it stop very briefly, like every like half second or whatever, or second,
Okay.
because I'm like slowly rotating it, and then I mash it up in at the start frame so that it can loop itself. I need to make it like a GIF for the Twitter posts, so we can have a slowly rotating globe.
That would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would be
But
pretty
I
awesome.
may re-record this after I tweak the Thunderbolt to make it a little bit thinner, because I remember looking at my original picture and it's being a lot thinner because you could see a lot more of the two halves. So I might do that. It just I need a little bit of time to record and re-edit that. But
I found the rules for the Tim Hortons app. So any small, medium, large, and extra large hot beverages, small, medium, and large cold beverages, farmer's breakfast wrap, grilled breakfast wrap, bagel belt, and breakfast sandwiches. That's it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we were
So
right on the coffee, but that's a very small amount of food this year that
yeah,
qualifies. It's basically just
I don't remember if donuts and other food stuff counted before, but I did know it was always it should have always have been coffee. So for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to look. I'm sure I've got one or two on there from last week. So, but I don't drink coffee nearly as much as I used to.
I don't drink coffee at all, so
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. But you remember going out with me and
Of
we'd
course,
go out and
that's
it's
the
like,
thing.
well, I need a coffee. And then we get
Mhm.
to where we're going. If I wasn't finished my coffee or or if I finished it when we were out, it's like, oh, I need to get another coffee.
Yes.
And then as I get dropped off at home, whatever, I'm like, well, we're gonna go get another coffee.
Yeah.
So, like whenever I'm out, I always had a cup of coffee with me. Now it's that I have three coffees in a week, maybe. Like on my
That's
days
good.
off only, I don't drink coffee when I go to work and stuff like that. So
This doesn't happen to me every time, but sometimes when I'm like, I do order a Tim Hortons coffee just because for whatever reason, like maybe like, I was going out with you for like lunch or something, for example. Um, Coffee is a very natural laxative. So when, when when your system's not used to it,
mm,
half the time it has that effect on me. It's not bad, but it's noticeable.
no,
I'll put it that way.
it is. If you're not used to the type of coffee at a certain place, or if you haven't drunk coffee in quite some time, that could happen to you. Like
Yeah.
your stomach will not feel good afterwards. So
And that's the
definitely
thing.
have had that happen at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I people have argued this. I wouldn't particularly argue this point. I don't think coffee is a drug. You could argue it is, but I don't think it is, honestly. That's
It
just my opinion.
it's got addictives put into it, or naturally in it, caffeine.
Yeah, of course, caffeine
So
and the coffee beans, yeah.
it is a drug in a way, but it depends on how much you think caffeine itself is a drug. People do get addicted to it. They get mental or it would be physical dependencies on it, like headaches if they don't have coffees. or
Yep.
have that caffeine rush or hit, whatever. So it, I can definitely stand on the side of it is a drug of some sort, but it is a, what's the word or what's the phrase? A more accepted drug,
Yeah.
caffeine itself, that is. So
Yeah. I struggle to think of it as a drug because I don't want to put in the same category as like heroin or cocaine or anything
yeah,
like that.
but
That's the only reason.
there's I would put it on that, like there's obviously medical drugs and then non-medical drugs. Weird to say that there are some that are, like you're saying cocaine, heroin, that there are some in that category that are technically, that are also medicinal drugs. So some of them kind of blend into one another.
Yeah, it's a tricky topic. That's not really that's kind of beyond the scope of this podcast. So
Of course,
let's not go too
I'm
deep down
not
the rabbit hole on
gonna
that one.
go into a lot of that since I will be
Yeah.
blowing smoke up my arse. So,
Not
but
just your ass, your arse. If you
yes,
put an
for
extra
some
R in there, just
reason I decided to censor
yeah,
myself as
nice.
opposed to other times when I yell expletives. Um, but yeah, what was I up to other than my art stuff? Did I mention last week on the podcast I beat RE4, or did I beat it yet?
Yeah. I don't I don't think you mentioned it last week. I think we were talking about you playing through it, but
Okay, then
I don't
maybe I
think
didn't quite. Oh no, it might have been. Actually, no, I don't remember.
I know I didn't see you finish it, so I'm not sure if you did or not. That's kind of you
You
have
were
to
in,
remember that.
yeah, you were in stream when I beat it because you were like, "Holy crap, why are you still up playing the game?" I'm like, "Cause I'm almost
Oh,
done."
I saw you at that point,
That
but I
was
didn't
like,
actually see the credits.
oh
That's
yeah,
what I
that
meant.
was like seven,
Yeah.
8 hour stream, and I just blitzed through the ending. Mm. Oh no, last week I was complaining about the cutscene, like in QuickTime events with
Yeah.
Krauser or whatever his name is
I
during
was
the
there for
knife
that.
fight. What a
Yes.
bullshit fight. But yeah, I the next stream I did was like 7 or 8 hours. I just blitzed through to the end of the game. I like it. I like it right to the end, except for the QuickTime events. They could go fuck themselves. I don't like them, but yeah, I really like the game. I could definitely see why after playing through it all the way, why Capcom decided to go through with the other games in that style. But I think they missed the mark with where they should have been going for their tone of the games because I think
Yeah.
I think not that I've played through all of them, but I know bits of them. Uh, 5 and 6 seem to go in a slightly different direction than what most people were thinking. Uh, if you understand, if you kind of get where I'm going from, and I don't like Chris's designs in 6, in 5 and 6. I don't like that he has such a frail ego from getting his butt kicked by Wesker in Code Veronica that he had to take steroids just so we could try and beat him again. And he still gets his ass kicked by him.
Have you do you know what happens in 5 regarding Wesker?
Obviously know that, he's enhanced. You kind of find that out early. Like, you find that out in Code Veronica. Well, oh, of course. And I think a little bit in. No, RE1 he wasn't, I don't think. Not yet.
I don't
But
think so.
you do find out in the other games when he makes small appearances that he's already enhanced himself, right? Oops. And I know what happens to Jill, pretty much. I think that's in RE. Is that 5 or 6? I think it's 5. Because
5
you have,
still, yes.
yeah. And I've seen the fight that they have with Wesker, which was ripped scene from scene and put into the movies, basically. I don't know if it's live action or the animated ones or both, but they pretty much rip off the exact scene. Like, when he takes off the shades, throws them
Yes.
in that whole scene. Yeah, but
I was gonna say if you ever saw, not even played, if you ever saw Marvel versus Capcom 3 or Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3, you know what happens to Jill and that Wesker because
yeah,
they're straight out of that game.
chill. Why did they do that to her?
She plays super strange in that game because of that crystal thing. She's like on all fours a lot of the time, and it's really difficult to control her.
Hmm.
She has
I've
a very different.
I've never seen her gameplay,
She
to be
she
honest.
was so when the vanilla version of Marvel versus Capcom 3 came out, she and Shuma Garath, like one from each side.
Mm,
Marvel and Capcom. They were DLC characters, but they're like they gave the code if you bought a new copy of the game. It was back in the day where it's like, remember like the online pass? Well, this game didn't really have an online pass, but like, hey, you bought the copy new, here's two new characters. You didn't buy the copy new, screw you. You have to pay for it, sort of thing.
mm-hmm.
Just like with all the online passes
It,
things back in the day.
yeah, nowadays it would just be your pre-order DLC that's edited.
Yeah.
So,
But then when they released Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 9 months later after the original release, this is a whole
yeah.
controversy. I mean, Maximilian covered this better
Is
than I
this the
ever could, but
controversy of on disc paid DLC?
that and the fact that they flooded the game market in 3 years with so many fighters,
Mm,
like just Capcom themselves,
yeah, they were
that they
trying
kind
to.
of they kind of sabotage themselves. And
Yeah.
then they complain, oh, there's no interest in fighting games. You just release a full price game and then you release an updated version of it. You can't download the DLC. Like aside from those two characters I said,
Mhm.
those were specifically for that situation. But every other new character, there was no downloadable option. You either bought the new game on disc or download, like the whole game download, or then you just forfeited the option. And of course, if you're a competitive player, you have to get the newest version because that's the version they'll be using, right? If you're a
Right.
casual player, why would you upgrade if you're not really hardcore into the game? You
Yeah.
know?
It. Yeah, I remember that them releasing that. I think what Street Fighter was also out, and I swear there was something else, and it felt like they were trying to sabotage certain games coming out to make other games feel better, but it
So
it, it was bad at time.
you were right. Around that time when they released Ultimate, they also released Street Fighter versus Tekken, and as you said, there was on this DLC, and it was discovered hackers, not even hackers, it's like you could access the DLC early and get like all these additional characters,
Mm,
and people were like, "What the fuck, Capcom?" Like it's literally on the disc. When you bought the characters, like legitimately, all you were buying was an unlock code. It was
yeah.
like a few kilobytes saying, "Oh, hey, disk, you're allowed to access this portion of the disk now to read the character and unlock it for the player."
Mm,
It's like,
yeah, it's
but people
stupid.
are like, "Fuck that! It's on the disk. I bought the disk. It's my property. I'm going to use it." So there you go. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was, and then they were gonna bring up Darkstalkers, like a new version of the
Oh, I
game,
wish.
and then. But Capcom's like, we have decided to cancel it because there's no interest in fighting games. Well, you just fucking sabotage yourself in like three different ways, including flooding the market, having really shitty practices for your games you do release, and like they're all within like months of each other. Of course people are going to get tired of not just fighting games, but like of your bullshit in these fighting games.
Yep.
So anyways, I'm sorry I forgot the original topic. That was
It
a
was
huge
it was about Jill in
okay.
Marvel vs. Capcom. But yeah, uh, I don't know if I'm ever gonna play 5 and 6. I know 5 is I don't know if there's a way to do it single player, but it is meant to be 2 players. And I don't know about 6. And then there's the other what was it Revelations, and there's another one. Revelations 1 and 2, and there's one or two other games kind of in the series. I know one you play as Barry. I want to say that's Revelations. I don't remember.
I have Revelations. I have no idea what's about. I think there's like a Revelations part 1 and part 2. I have no idea what they're about.
Yeah,
I
no,
just
I know one. I don't know if it's Revelations or the other series. I'm trying to remember the name of. One he plays Barry and his kid. The one that he was trying to protect in the first game that he mentions. Well, she's was captured, so Barry goes off to go find her. So he's trying to prove he's not garbage.
bad dad.
Well, not a
And they,
bad dad. He made a poor choice on something that he should not have trusted because he's an idiot in the first game. Or at least I
well,
think so.
good thing she didn't become a daughter sandwich, Chris.
Hmm. Yes. And then the other series I'm trying to think of, they kind of like recreated certain parts of the other games and were trying to tell either a continued story or just wanted to add in, like, have it be to me, what felt like a celebration of the RE series, but I could be wrong. I never played them. I know I've seen like scenes of like recreated parts of like RE1 and 2 and Code Veronica or something like that. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting, but I haven't seen really anyone talk about them. They're kind of like those spin-off games that people go, they're there. You can
Yeah.
play them if you want.
I It would have been interesting to see in another universe what would have. where the series would have went if they decided to keep the live action version
If they like
of
kept
these
the
games.
cutscenes,
Yes,
like
because I'm telling you, that's one of the best things in gaming. And when you see the original Resident Evil 1 cutscene, and then it says, uh, shit, I forget Wesker's first name, but like Wesker, and then you see the live action dude do this.
like nowadays,
That's
obviously it would be
that's
all
the best.
CG, but I would have loved to see them keep that going. But I think they would have just take a look at oh, what was it Mortal Kombat, because they did the live action kind of characteristics or characters for, was it Mortal Kombat 1, 2, was it also 3? And then they went into all CGI in that right
Yeah.
after that. So I think they would have eventually, or pretty probably by time 3 or 4 came out, they would have went all computer stuff. But it would have been cool to see live action characters in like RE3 or whatever, just skinned over, like to try and make it look more realistic. Have like just real life skins of people just scraped over the 3D models. It looked grotesque, but it would have been funny.
What's Chris's helper in the first game? What's she called again? I forget.
Rebecca Chambers?
Rebecca? Yeah. Then you would have had to get her basketball outfit for sure, Chris. So that was the case, right?
Yes, I would have to get every outfit for her for sure.
Wasn't that basketball outfit a part of her DLC in Resident Evil Zero? I haven't played
So
through Zero.
apparently, if there was some DLC, it was already in the game, like for beating it, and then they added some. They actually made some of the other outfits for RE0 when they re-released it on PC and like modern and new consoles, which I thought it was all on the original because I remember seeing pictures of all those outfits before and going and thinking that they were all on GameCube, but apparently I was wrong about that because I went looking for which DLC costumes were in the original. The original is you have that. You have, I think it's Jill's original outfit, so the one with the big kind of square shoulder pads, and there's I think one more. So they didn't have any of the like nurse outfit and the uh, gym outfit and so stuff like that. So I don't know what. I think I just kind of screwed up on thinking that seeing those, or maybe I saw the art of that in somewhere else and thinking that they were part of the original game. I don't remember, but they are in the new games, so or the new version. So if you bought them on the modern consoles, you should they should be there, or they're DLC still. You might have to pay extra for them. I don't have them. I don't care. Not really. If I want them, there's pictures of them on the internet, and I'm sure fan art does it better. If I really
So
want it.
what else have you been up to?
Uh, other than beating RE4. Uh, oh, I bought the new or new-ish Harvest Moon game. Harvest Moon open world. Open.
Yeah, you're telling me this was a very
Open
different feel?
world. One world. Not open world, but it is kind of open world. Um, different feel. So, Har- Harvest Moon, farming sim, what do you call it? Relationship sim, whatever you want to call it, right? Um, in this one, it has a different feel. Like it's a different dev than the guys who were doing Harvest Moon before. It's the new guys, so still a little jank. Definitely a little jank. Like when you go into cutscenes and go talk to people, it fades in and brings up the character models so that they talk the way you would expect. And then as soon as that scene's done, it doesn't fade. It cuts to a black screen, and then fades back in to your character standing on the map, like in the game world, so you can run around. So there's two different transitions, and one is janker than the other. It's like that. There's that end of the uh, going back into the game. It They did not put in the transition properly, so it feels really jank. The bits of the controls aren't as good as like Stardew, because Stardew and Story of Seasons, you can lock your character into place. You can shift around in your along the farm so that it makes easier to mass grow and water and stuff like that. In this one, you can't do that. It's all just controls, so you can easily miss or water the same product multiple times or be continuously trying to pick something up you don't want to, since you don't have that slight perfect control. It's really jank. the how do you say? Uh, Everything in the game is done, even though you're playing on the Nintendo Switch and you have lots of buttons on the controller. Everything is done with pushing the A button. If you want to till, water, plant, pull up weeds, axe things, it's all done with A. No other button is used. So if you wanted to check if you can pull fruit from a tree, you'll either get the fruit or you'll try and chop it down.
Seems kind of
Stupid.
counterintuitive. Yeah.
They should have had a button where you can grab, like, if it's trees and that, you do one thing. If it's, you know, you want to, like what was done in the old Harvest Moon games, you want to hoe this thing, well, get your hoe out and then hoe the ground. You want to axe this thing, get your axe out and axe it, right? It should be done like that, and interacting with objects should be done with a different button. So you don't accidentally chop something down. You know, it's kind of annoying. Everything's done with one button. It really feels like they want to port this. If it's not already, port it to mobile.
Yeah.
But
So
it is still a
sounds
little jank.
sounds like the devs had a different idea of what to do than the other devs.
I I think they're still feeling their strikes. This is definitely better than the last one, which was the mobile game. Like 100% that they ported to PC and was really bad and boring, and I felt it being too easy. This one I still feel it being a little bit too easy. So I think I kind of went off topic, not off topic, but off of where I was originally going, which was in this one, like you start off at a town, which is seems to be some kind type of post-apocalyptic world from one of the other Harvest Moon games, because one of the characters you meet right away is called Dr. Junior. He's a scientist who has a picture of one of the scientist guys from one of the previous Harvest Moon games. But everyone in this world doesn't know what farming is. They don't know how to plant crops. They barely know how to take care of themselves. It feels like Dragon Quest Builders 1, where no one knows how to do anything or take care of themselves. And your character, for some reason, has a book that tells them about growing crops and taking care of livestock. No one else seems to know this, how to do this, except for the people who have cows. But the only thing they know how to do is, well, I guess the cow's eating. Sure, we don't know why it's not getting any. Well, we can't get milk from it. Like you guys are stupid. Why are you trying to be a farmer if you don't understand anything about this? You know, it's really dumb. But you go around the world. There's like, sorry, hit my desk. There's different sections. Yeah, like four, five, six different locations you can set up farm. Like you could just pick up your farm and move somewhere else and drop your farm somewhere and start growing crops and stuff in this other section. Like let's say if you're going over there to be working there for quite some time, or you want to grow the crops that you could grow there. You could take seeds from different locations and grow them in different places and get different variants of seeds and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a little bit more open worldy in a way where you could just pick up and go where you want and set up shop where not really anywhere you want, but in specific locations. So they did kind of expand on a thing that they were trying to do in previous games. But definitely jank. I do have an issue though. So trying to stream it with my Elgato. Uh, for some reason, only with this game I've noticed. I want to stream other Switch games just to make sure, but with this game, if I hook it up, I get sound static, like really bad issue with the game where it starts to sound very fuzzy and it's bad. If I turn up the volume, then the game will start glitching or start like freezing momentarily. People might have seen that on stream. I don't know if you've seen it or if the audio was fuzzy for you at any point,
For me, no. I mean, I wasn't watching the whole time,
but not when you were noticing.
but
Yeah,
I didn't notice anything.
for me, I can hear it. I'm gonna have to do like a test record to make sure, but there's definitely uh, video glitching, like freezing up going on, and I don't understand what is going on because I had the when trying to set up my audio and things like that, and trying to figure out that issue. I had the Pokemon and what other game was it? Donkey Kong music. I went online to see that, and no issues with the Super Nintendo stuff. That the audio was fine. Pokemon, it was just fine. I had that going for like an hour. and nothing. But as soon as I turn on Harvest Moon, it starts freezing up and being all fuzzy. So I don't know what's going on with that at all. I think the game is just jank and the devs still don't know exactly what they're doing. I think it could be part of it 'cause it's going through Elgato, but none of the other games have any issues like that I've seen so far. So this one game is having an issue. And I really want to stream it or stream a bit of it, we know, when I want to only do a small chill stream, right? So yeah. Uh that's pretty much been it. I didn't really watch anything other than the stuff that we watched together, which was Yu-Gi-Oh! And AOT,
Yep.
Attack on Titan. So we're still going through those. We're watching like the subbed, oh no, the subtitled Yu-Gi-Oh! So we get to see guns and
Yes.
how dumb how even stupider the card fights are in this game for what the cards can do compared to, what I was going to say Funimation, for kids said, which surprisingly most of it was still the same. Like there hasn't been many changes in terms of like what they did for plot. So
Mm.
they just edited out guns and man, Maxman and Pegasus is still as flamboyant as ever. Maybe even
He's
more so in this
I was
version.
gonna say arguably more so, and I would probably argue that point if I had to pick a side.
Max,
He's more flamboyant. So I thought that was just the English bastardization of making fun of the character because of his flamboyance at the
yeah,
time when the anime came out. I think around that time, correct me if I'm wrong, I think around that time, it's never been socially acceptable for real, but some people still thought it was socially acceptable to make fun of those sorts of people. I don't
mm,
want to kind of say, but you know what I'm talking about. Um, which is, as I said, never okay, never has been, never will be. But I think it was still around that time when still, again, I'm just repeating myself. Anyways, I thought they're just making fun of the character, but no, that's what the character actually was. If anything, I would say they toned him down from the original Japanese release.
maybe, but yeah, like in the Japanese version, he still says "Ooh, Yugi boy" and
Yes,
stuff like
he
that.
actually
So
says Yugi Boy in English in the
yeah,
Japanese version.
he speaks a lot of, surprisingly, because I guess he is supposed to be like European or American, right? So he does not American. It would be more European.
I think so.
But he does speak like quite a bit of English as well, mixed in with his Japanese. So
See, English Pegasus just sounds goofy, but Japanese Pegasus just sounds very flamboyant. Like if you had to pick a word, I would say goofy and flamboyant for the two versions.
I love Maximilian Pegasus. He's my favorite character in the series, next to Little Yugi. It's weird that I say that because most people would think I like Seto Kaiba more. I'm more of a Yugi fan.
Um, so I kind of was like in real life, I kind of if I had to pick a character, I would kind of resemble Sotokai because he has short brown hair like myself.
Yeah,
You made me a it was I think it's half finished. I think next time I see you, I'll give it back to you because I
yeah,
don't know what I'm doing with it. But you made me like a coat of the his white trench jacket. Kind
yeah.
of like that meme with the PS5 when people are like putting their face in there and like it's like Seto Kaiba. Yeah. So I'll give that back to you at some point. But
Well, you can do with it what you want.
well,
If
I
I'm,
can't do anything with it.
well,
That's what I'm saying.
just get rid of it, throw it out. Because
Really?
if anything, I'll remake it.
Okay.
So
I'll probably throw it out
because
then, honestly, because I
I could probably do it a little bit better these days. So
okay. Oh, it's incomplete and it still has like the black marks on it on the outside of it. I'm like, oh, Chris wasn't done making it. Whoops.
yeah, I think there was definitely issues with it and such. So like I think when I did that, I was kind of rushing to get it done and stuff.
Okay,
And but I could do a lot more of that in better ways these days, I think.
Chris. All I'm saying, I'm sure you're in the same boat. All I'm saying though is I still have my dual disc.
So do I. Of
There you
course I
go.
do.
That's all we need. That's all we need. There you go.
They did
So,
release a new one a while ago that actually has sound effects like the
oh
sounds
yeah,
of the life points and that going up and stuff like that. I'm like, ah,
I
is
just want
I
the
think
original one though.
it was like 100 or 120 or something. I'm like, is it worth spending that much money on a dual disc that makes noise? I'm like, it almost is, but I didn't spend money on it. I was
Well,
tempted to for the original.
next, whenever everything clears up, if everything clears up for conventions, that's one thing we should do at some point. Now, I'm not saying the next one. I'm just saying eventually Yugi versus Kaiba, the two of us. We should be like like walk away, then like and then like walk together, and it'll be like, Yugi, I challenge you to a duel, and then you're like, you'll never beat me, Kaiba.
So you want
I
to
think
do
that'd be
you want to do
cool.
a video next time?
And
Well,
then
not next time we meet, but if we meet up again in real life, but we need the outfits for them. And then
of course,
we can do a mock duel of Yugi versus Kaiba.
yes, and then we need someone cosplaying as Blue Eyes and someone cosplaying as Black Magician or
I
Black Magician Girl.
I think that might be hard pressed to get, especially
That's what
Blue
we need,
Eyes,
Chris.
because we get Dark Magician cosplayer or Dark Magician girl cosplayer easier than we could get Dark Magician or Blue Eyes for that matter.
Of course, of course.
But yeah, I think it's really pretty much been all I've been up to. Oh, I actually started. I remember because first day at work, I started Chojin Sentai Jetman. It's one of the early what do you call it? Super Sentai series. I think they've got some of the best outfits I've seen, but I like the older outfits. Uh, I've only been
So
a few episodes in, so
why did you interrupt your samurai to watch this version?
sorry.
Why did you interrupt your viewing of the samurai, of the Sentai
I
Sentai
didn't. I
Samurai?
haven't started that.
Oh, see, I thought you did because you told me last time that that was the next one. Okay, never mind.
No, I don't think that one's next. I don't know for sure, but I couldn't find, at least on Tubi, they don't have anything beyond what I've watched. So I think Jetman's the last series they have on there. I'm gonna have to track down the other versions that are subtitled
Yeah,
if I want.
it's actually too new, Chris. You're actually catching up to recent times. That's why. That's why.
It
You
might
have to-
be. I don't know what year the last one was when that one was released in Japan, so I don't know how new it is. So it may actually be too new, but I doubt it with them doing like yearly or bi-yearly uh, releases of Sentai.
Oh, when I say too new, I mean like they actually give a shit about the copyright starting from this one
Well,
and going forward.
that or they just haven't uploaded it yet. I don't know how much. Who was it? How how many series those guys have? Shoutcraft or Shoutsu, Tokushoutsu, whatever, whoever it is that owns it. I don't know how many seasons they own, so or have the rights to. So it could just be that they haven't got the rights to them yet. No idea. I'll have to track them down, but I'm watching Jetman. It's good. It's old. It feels like a series before they started marketing it to children and trying to sell toys to children. It feels like that. Like all the characters are like 20 something and above, like they're not younger. The
Really?
main
Oh,
character is the only well, okay, not including the Black Ranger who just joined the team. He's the only like competent one on the team because you have like a late high school or early like what do you call it, college kid. Then you have some floppy kind of rich girl who's just bored and decided to join the team, and then some lazy farmer. And that's the other three members other than Red and the Black Ranger, who's this show off kind of uh I'm here to survive on my own, so leave me alone kind of character, like not quite Vegeta or Piccolo, but we'll say it's close to that kind of character-ish, right? But yeah, they really make the point of Red's the best. He's the only one who's been military trained, so of course he's the best. So they really focus in on how cool he is and how everyone else just isn't good. So hopefully over the arc of the series, they will show everyone growing and actually becoming good rangers.
it sounds like everyone except Red, it should not be a ranger. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, actually they shouldn't have been. They so first episode begins with them blasting Red with these rays to make him super powered. So in this version,
So
it's not the suits that are that give him superpowers. They're actually like enhanced human
so
beings.
essentially, Captain America or the Hulk just become powerful because of
Actually,
rays.
yes, in a way, actually. And right after Red gets zapped, the bad guys attack them. The bad guys are these beings from another dimension, like literally from another dimension, who conquered like one or two other dimensions and have now made their way into the 3D realm, or whatever you want to call the realm that Earth is in. And they're trying to now conquer that realm now as well. And they attacked all the other people who were supposed to be rangers, died or are missing. They don't know where they went. And the device that was used to turn red broke, but as it broke, it shot up these rays that zapped like four other people, just random people in Japan. So they had to go track them down with this device. So they weren't
Okay.
chosen by choice; they were chosen because of fate, I guess, if you want to say that. So, but so far so good. I like their outfits; they're good. I think this might be a good series. We'll see. It's definitely old. Like their special effects are, it's not really CG, and all the bad guys are just superimposed over the scenes, like half faded in, so it looks like they're not part of our dimension. Stuff like that. So it is good. It's gonna be. I think this one I'll enjoy just based on it being an older Sentai series.
You said there was a lazy farmer, and I was thinking the whole time, man, they were so close. They almost the beam of light or whatever almost hit the farmer with the shotgun,
I
Chris.
knew you
Not
were
not
thinking that.
yeah.
Because
How did you know?
that's the first thing I thought of when I was
Okay.
mentioning it here. I'm like, Sean's gonna mention this probably, or be thinking of this.
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
it's not farmer with shotgun. It's farmer with hoe, who's
If
supposed
anyone
to be not really a pacifist, but someone who hates violence. And then the I guess putties or whoever the minions are, they start attacking his farms, and then he immediately attacks them with his hoe. So he's not against violence. He just doesn't want to do violence.
if anyone's confused what we're talking about, farmer versus shotgun, in the very first Dragon Ball Z episode, when Raditz lands on Earth, a farmer with a shotgun confronts him and doesn't make it out of the confrontation. So we pay our respects to our episode one homie, the farmer with the shotgun.
in in the original English dub, I believe they never killed him. They just knocked him out. Like they show him he get hit. I think he hit the ground, and they hear him say something, or he's like, "Oh," like as if he's not dead. But in the original, he's dead because Reddit fires a bullet back that he fires at him back at him.
Yeah,
For
I
some
think like
reason, his
he
shotgun
like
fired like a normal round, not scattered shots. So that doesn't make sense either.
he catches the bullet and like flicks it back or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I did a few things, but kind of just getting back um into work, I guess.
Okay. So you had a good week off,
Unfortunately.
it sounds like.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess good.
Okay.
Good for not having to go for not me having to go into work, bad because I had to go back to work.
Of
So,
course.
and how about you since I'm pretty much done rambling
Well,
on?
before we move on, there's something you mentioned about when you're talking about the farm, the Harvest Moon game. So apparently, I wanted to let you know right now, Chris, for at least for us, Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town for the Switch is on sale. I'm not sure if you have that one or not,
Oh
if you have
yeah,
any interest in
I
that.
definitely have it.
Okay, just letting you know.
But it's on sale. I think that wasn't the one that was out last year. It was one. It was the first one that the Harvest Moon team did when they broke off and started doing the story seasons. It's a new one
Okay.
of the, I guess, remakes of one of the Harvest Moon games. Then they did Pioneers of Mineral Town, I think, after that. So they are both really, really good. Get them over the new Harvest Moon games. They are way better than it. So,
So what have I been up to?
mm,
Unfortunately, the car saga for me comes to a close. I was informed today, well, I was informed a couple days ago actually that the car is going to be considered a write-off.
so they
I looked at
found
my
your car.
options. Oh yeah, they found my car like last week Thursday.
Mm,
So, um, Friday was when it went to the shop. I gave the okay for them to partially break it down to assess the damage. And on Monday, they came back and said, yep, your car is totaled. Even though I can't stress how small of an accident this is. The only thing I hit was a sign. I didn't even hit I didn't like hit a ramp or anything else. It was
mm,
just a sign. My car just towed, it wasn't a big sign. It was one of those like very major, sort of minor, I meant to say, very minor, like, those metal poles with the holes in them
yeah.
all the way down. It was one of those, and you know, they cut the holes there. What I'm assuming is like to not make it as heavy because they don't need it to be. right? Because
Yeah.
it's like off on the side. So when I lost control in the turn in the snow, I purposely went into the ditch, and unfortunately, fate would have it that I hit the sign along the way. But yeah, apparently my car is totaled, but I'm getting more than I paid for it back, at least from the insurance. So that's good.
Yeah.
Um,
After some point, from what I know of cars, which isn't much, like beyond however many years, they'll just write them off. Or I know like new cars nowadays are kind of meant to crumple. Like there's no huge frame on them anymore. They're meant to like crumple to help save people who are in accidents. So if there's any kind of like crack or anything like that in the main bodywork of the car, they'll probably just more likely write it off because it means that if they have to replace it, it's a structural weakness in that spot now, so it's not as safe. But I don't know what yours looked like. It probably didn't look that bad, but it might be
no,
old enough that they decide to write it off. I don't
it
know.
didn't look that bad. Honestly, it did not look that
Yeah,
bad.
maybe it's
It
just
was
too old. I have no idea how old your car is.
it
I don't,
was a 2009, so it wasn't that old.
uh,
It was over a
yeah,
decade older.
I don't know what they consider too old to bother replacing or fixing. I don't know. I might be bullshitting here. So
But
anyway,
yeah, basically they would offer me about half the amount
mm,
if I want to keep it, but then they'd explain to me there might be more work because they stopped tearing my car down to check for repairs as soon as they realized, okay, we're gonna total it anyways, so there's no point keeping or just doing more work and seeing how much more it would cost. So there was that. And as well as now, because it's considered total, if I were to get it fixed, I would apparently need the Ministry of Transportation to okay the car after a certain point, which is more time and money out of my
yep.
pocket. So
Mm,
I said, screw it, I'll just get more money than what I paid for it and just get a new vehicle using that money. So
yeah.
fortunately, that's the way she goes. I've been driving for a very long time. I don't want to say how long because I'll kind of age myself, but yeah, this is a very minor accident, right? It's a solo accident. I didn't hit anything but a sign, no property damage aside from that, and yeah, um, it is what it is, though. I have forgiveness, so that means I paid for the fact that they'll forgive the first time it happens. There's my premiums won't go up, so I won't pay anything for this at all.
Well, that's
So that's
good.
good. So it's good, but then I have to find a new car, which sucks, of course, right? So it is what it is. What else have I do? So what have I been playing? I've been playing more Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. Yeah, my first couple just felt very weird, but now I've really like acclimated to the game. Like it really feels good. I actually like really enjoy it now. The more I play it, the more I'm enjoying it because it is like a Dark Souls game in Final Fantasy. And even though I'm playing on hard mode, which is right now the hardest mode you can play on, I found out the chaos mode because of course it's called chaos mode
Yeah.
unlocks once you beat the game on any difficulty, but you can't do that right off the bat. Anyways, so hard. I'm playing on the hardest mode, and I don't think it's as hard as a typical Dark Souls. I think it's almost as hard, like just about there, just like just like a hair's length, pretty much like from like meeting where Dark Souls is in terms of difficulty, not typically, but it's a slightly easier, I think. Again, I don't have much Dark Souls experience, but just the fact that you have two NPCs with you at all times makes the game easier, like objectively, right? Because like, yeah, you can summon allies or you can have allies in Dark Souls or Elden Ring, but it's not 100% thing, right? This is
Mm,
like 100% thing. Also, unless if they get killed, but you can revive them. Um, yeah, I've been enjoying the job. There is, some complaints like there's so much loot. There's too much loot in this game. Like you kill one guy and sometimes you drop five pieces of loot, like just a
yeah.
normal guy,
You were
not a boss.
mentioning that before.
And it feels like it feels like Diablo 3 or Borderlands. It's like loot explosions out of nowhere. And then you have to go back after the missions and you have to go to the smithy and you have to like select each piece individually. You have to disenchant it. It's such a pain in the ass. And there's no
Hmm.
like option that says disenchant everything my characters don't have equipped. There's nothing. You either select everything or you select nothing. So you either had to select manually or you select everything at once. So you have to select everything at once and find every piece of equipment your guy is wearing because you can disenchant things you are wearing. I don't know why that's such a stupid move. Like that's what I'm saying. It's such an anti quality of life
Yeah.
feature. Having to deal with loot in a Dark Souls game when loot shouldn't be like this plentiful is terrible. I don't like that design decision, but aside from that, the game's good. I like the skill trees. I like the different classes you unlock. You know, you have your basic jobs, the advanced jobs, and the expert jobs. I need to like typically unlock two classes entries to get the next job in the tree. So, for example, Chris, I know if you were to play this game, you want to be a monk. So the first thing, so you have to find a pair of gloves, like fist weapons. Once you do, that unlocks the basic job, the pugilist, I believe,
Pugilist.
pugilist. I don't know how you pronounce it. So you have to get to level 30 and reach the end of the tree, and then
Mm.
once you do, again, I don't have monk unlocked yet, but you might. I think like you have to do the pugilist, and then you have to maybe do like I forget which one it was for monk specifically, like maybe lancer. You have to like get to the end of the lancer tree. So you unlock the next job from two different trees, right?
Hmm.
Entirely. Like for example, for paladin, I had to unlock white mage and knight, which
Yeah,
makes sense.
that one makes sense.
Makes sense. A lot of the combinations don't make sense.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like,
say, what would you need? Let's say if it was Lancer and Pugilist. Pugilist should just be the upgrade into Monk. There shouldn't be anything else. Maybe White Mage, because having the affinity with magic to be able to, if the monk was to have special attacks, right? That would make more sense. Or maybe
again,
Thief to have the agility.
don't quote me on
Yeah,
which one
but
it is
but you know what I
unlocked.
mean.
Don't quote me on that.
You're
Yeah.
just trying to make the thing. You're just trying to say that some of them don't make sense at all,
Hmm.
because a monk is supposed to be like a cross between the warrior who has no weapons or armor and a thief, right? Because he has the agility and the strength. So I guess that's
It
kind of
might
like
actually
ninja
be
as well.
it might be Thief now that you think about it, but yeah, there's a lot of I'm not sure which jobs, aside from looking at the achievement list in the game, I'm not sure which jobs are in the game, but
Hmm.
I knew Paladin was.
Of course, they have to have paladin. Hopefully, Dark Knight.
Yeah. I mean, Paladin and Knight has actually been synonymous because like even the Knight from Final Fantasy 1, which is the upgrade of the warrior, once you upgrade like for example, in Final Fantasy 14, the Paladin is not called the Paladin in the Japanese version. He's known as the Knight, which makes sense because if you look back on all the knights in Final Fantasy, they have all been like Paladin type classes. Because, like for example, let's go back to Final Fantasy 1 again. Once you upgrade to a Knight, you can use white magic on the warrior,
Yeah,
which you couldn't before, which makes sense. If you look at Beatrix from Final Fantasy 9, she's a very temporary party character, but she's a knight, but she can also use white magic, so she is a paladin in that game. Cecil from Final Fantasy 4, he's an outright paladin, and he learns white magic once you transform him.
yeah.
So it all makes sense. It's all synonymous. So like knight and paladin is the same class in Final Fantasy, but aside from that, all the classes are basically there. Dark Knight, Sage, Black Mage, Red Mage, White Mage, Thief, ninja. I can't think of Dragoon. Dragoon has jump. I'm actually curious to see how like you don't even have a jump button in this game. I know in Elden Ring you have a jump button.
Yeah.
In this game there's no jump button. So I'm wondering how jump functions. Is it just like an ability, like Final Fantasy 14, like you activate? It's like just like an
I
animation
I
type of thing,
assume
or
the only abilities I've seen people use in the game in the Strangers of Paradise have been magic. So I assume it's gonna be something like that. Like you select it from a queue, or you have to charge up for specific like attacks or however. But I assume it's gonna be some kind of special ability like that. I don't
yeah.
know what the other classes' abilities how they work. So
So yeah, like this is not a spoiler, but like once you start playing the game, you see that the map is exactly the same as the Final Fantasy 1 map, Chris, which is funny because you're playing Final Fantasy 1 on Pixel Master on stream this morning, and I said, "Oh, we're both after chaos." I was hoping you'd get that joke,
I did.
like
I just
like
didn't
oh,
have
we're both
anything. I just didn't have
yeah.
anything to say about it.
I was like, "You're doing it the regular way. I'm doing it this retelling way. Apparently, is what I'm guessing is what's going on with here."
Yeah, I don't want
But
to say anything about the story if I know what's going on. I want to wait till you're done and then hear
yeah,
about what happens because I
but
want to know how right or wrong I am.
So, and here's the thing, like, you go out of order because the first fiend that you kill in Stranger of Paradise, this might be a little spoiler, so I'll pause for a second. I'll kind of just ramble on for a second. If you guys, it's not too much of a spoiler, but it is technically a spoiler. So if you want to skip ahead,
Well, I would if people want to skip ahead. I guess I don't think saying which fiend is you take on, at least for me, doesn't seem to think that it's
no, but like, okay, so I'll just say it now because it's been enough
Yeah.
time. So the game goes out of order. So you killed Tiamat first, who is the fourth fiend in Final Fantasy One. That's the last one you kill for the Ring Crystal.
All right.
And now, and again, this is not a spoiler what I'm about to say right now, because I just realized if you look at the front cover of the game, or if you look at the boot up sequence, like whenever you boot up a game on your console or PC, it'll show like a splash screen,
Mm,
right? And on the splash screen, it shows the five characters. So there's five Warriors of Light, not just the three in the trailers.
yep.
There's a couple
That
more.
definitely leads to
So
what I was thinking originally. So go on.
that's a little surprising because in Final Fantasy One, there's only four characters.
Hmm.
So they've already broken off the what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah. Remember,
Canonig. I don't know.
remember
The
when
canon.
they announced the game originally, and people were like, "There's four Warriors of Light. Why are there only three?" And now
Yeah,
there's five when the game comes out. So
yeah,
what's going on? I think I know what's going on, but I'll let you keep going.
yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But one fiend down, and I'm about to kill. I'm assuming because once you did Tiamat, they say, "Do you want to get the Earth Crystal or the Fire Crystal?"
Oh,
I'm
you get
like, you
to
know what?
choose.
You get to choose. I'm like, let me
Okay.
go in order because I'm like, let's fight Lich for the Earth Crystal because he's the elemental archfiend from Final Fantasy One for the Earth
Is
Crystal.
he
Lich.
one, two, or three? Crystal.
You mean like the order?
Yeah.
The first one.
Okay, he's the first one. All
Yeah,
right.
he's the first one.
I
That's what I mean, like
I
in
don't know
order.
which ones. I thought you meant in order, like as if you were thinking of going. Since you start with four, you maybe start with go to three, then two, then one.
Oh no, I'm like, well, I have to start at four.
Mm.
You can't go. We can't go Water Crystal. That's not an option. That was number three. So
Oh, okay.
so yeah. So like you go four, then you have to pick one or two.
Okay. So I thought maybe they would let you go in complete reverse order. I guess not.
No.
Whatever.
So it's going extremely out of order, and I don't know what to make of it because like up until a certain point, like Chris, he fought the pirates today on the stream.
Yep.
The pirate boss BK. He was the second boss,
All right.
in Strange the Parrot, like the second boss in the second mission.
Surprised
So
you
I'm
fought
like,
him, but
okay,
I don't know what's going on in the story. So
yeah,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, so this is like following Final Fantasy One, and then you go to Astos,
Hmm.
the dark where you are right now, the Dark Knight Elf. Wait, did I say that correctly? Dark Knight. No, it's
He's
Dark
the
Night
he's
Elf.
the
Dark
dark
Elf.
elf.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. I think
Yeah,
I'm
I
getting my
just
World
did
of Warcraft.
Astros thing,
Yeah.
and
So I'm like, okay. And then from Astos, you go to Tiamat. I'm like, and it's screwed. Like,
yeah.
I don't know where
Now,
they're going with this now.
yeah,
Now it's just up in the air.
it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
So as we discussed last week, I don't agree with Square at all. This is not me agreeing with them or siding with them, but I see now why they wanted streamers to not stream the ending because we're discussing it right now. Like what the hell is going on in this game? How does it relate to Final Fantasy 1? And they probably want to keep that as a mystery to boost their sales. Again, I don't agree with them, but now I see why they wanted to do it, if that makes sense, because they want to keep this under wraps.
Yeah, I guess, but I think it's stupid of them
Oh,
to
for
do
sure.
that.
I
If
again, I'm not agreeing with them at all. But go ahead.
no, I got nothing to say. Just I don't think that them doing that is the right thing. I think it's really dumb of them to do that. So, like
Mm.
people watching a stream does not guarantee you a lost sale. If anything, it boosts sales. So,
Yeah, I've had some people come into my stream and say, "Oh, what's this game? Oh, like I didn't even know it existed. Looks pretty interesting." So
yeah.
there,
So
there you go. The sale you might have lost off of me is already was made up by
I mean,
potentially two people.
you'd think Square would know this, knowing that the specific streamer streamed Final Fantasy 14, and then they had to shut down sales of the online game because of how many people want to buy the game and play it. And that
Yeah.
was Final Fantasy 14, and who was it? I don't remember which streamer it was. One of the big streamers. And that
Zepla?
maybe him. There was another one I was thinking of. I just don't know the name. I don't
That's
remember.
her, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't even know who that streamer is. No, it was a male streamer. The one who did
Osmongold?
Asmongold. Thank you. I was gonna say the one who does WoW stuff, or who used to. I believe that's what Asmongold is known for, right?
Yes,
So yeah,
correct.
he was doing Final Fantasy 14, and people were like, "Holy crap, this game looks cool!" And yeah, apparently now they finally put back up the sales for Final Fantasy 14. So you
Yeah, it's
can
been like
so
that for a month or so.
yeah, a month or something. It's been a while, but They finally allow you
Um,
to purchase the game again.
I was gonna say they're not gonna do anything about streaming for Final Fantasy 14 because that is Yoshi P's territory. They are not gonna touch his territory. The rest of Square knows hands off when it comes to Yoshi P. He's a rock star in Square. They don't. It's like they thank him for talking to them essentially. Like he single handedly saved the company. So they leave him to his own devices. They don't question his decisions. That's why I think he's like he's either lead executive producer or co-executive producer for Final Fantasy 16 coming out.
Something like that. Yeah, he's definitely definitely made his place in the company if he didn't already have it before 14. He fucking came back, fixed the game, and now it's making them all the monies, or enough that they can start doing a lot of the indie stuff that they used to do.
Yeah,
They
like
start appeasing me as a Square fan now instead of,
triangle strategy or stuff like
oh, I
that.
need to buy Triangle Strategy.
I still haven't played through the demo.
Neither
I
have
have
I.
it.
I got it. I just haven't taken time to play it. So I got
And the
but
demo,
Harvest Moon.
you can transfer your save file from the demo to
Yeah,
the retail game. So there's no reason not to play it because you're
yeah.
not wasting your time.
It's pretty much like the first chapter or so. Kind of like what they did with their previous game there,
Mhm.
Octopath. You could do the same thing, play through like I think the
Oh, I
first
didn't know that.
chapter in a bit of one of the characters. Yeah,
Huh. I know that's like a 16-bit game, but now that Octopath is out on other consoles, like I don't even think it's out on PlayStation. I think it's just Xbox and PC it's out on now.
yeah,
So now that we have those options, I wouldn't buy on the Switch personally
yeah. If you
because it's
don't already got
better
it,
graphics.
yeah. If you don't already got it, well, I don't know about better, but you at least can.
Well, achievements. There you go.
I was gonna say at least on the newer consoles, it should be upscaled at the very least to be 1080, whereas the Switch is pretty much 720 and kind of upscaled. I think is how it works, so it's not quite outputting full 1080, but you know what I mean. It should at least be hopefully better done on the PC and Xbox and that, so it should look a little sharper, a little nicer. So
Yeah. Um, let's see what else. That's about it, honestly. Just those two things, basically. Even I did hit the from last week. I said I was going to be trying to stream every.
oh, you cut out. 1 second.
Hello, 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 hello. There we go.
Okay, there.
Yeah, I'm just testing. Okay, so I did say I was trying to stream every day to get that one achievement on Twitch about streaming for the last 25 days and the last 30
Hmm.
or something like that. I got the achievement, but now I just been like streaming I didn't stream today, but I've been streaming like most days still. It's just that's the thing. I can tell you like for most people to form a habit, you have to do something for 3 weeks. And I'm past that point. So now it's like when I was doing the 25 days of streaming, I'm like, oh man, I don't feel like streaming today, but I kind of have to maintain that streak. Now I don't see it as a big deal. Now I'm kind of used to it. And I'm like, okay, I can stream for like 3 or 4 hours tonight. Sure.
Yeah, it's with your job and already being home, you don't have to go traveling, so that cuts off what an
Oh,
hour, what could be an hour or two. So you're already at home, you have that extra time, and you can be like, well, I don't have to cook food for a couple hours. I could do a stream. I could do that for a couple hours, or I'm gonna be playing this game anyway. Might as well stream it, right? You
yeah,
know, you
exactly.
have that little bit of extra time that some people don't have, or whatnot. So, or you're, as bad as it might say, you're already at your PC. You should
Yeah,
have to.
it's
So,
it's not bad to say. That's the entire reason why I have this new setup.
well,
I
no,
got the
but you
new
know what I
desk,
mean.
I got the
Like,
new chair. Yeah. I take pride in that. That's fine. I mean, like if I'm in my chair 16 hours a day, 8 for work and 8 for gaming or streaming or whatever or entertainment purposes, I'm fine with that. My place is not a big place. I'm fine staying in this spot right here for like most of my day. I don't think any shame of that. I don't think there is any shame of that personally.
I don't know. I
So
know,
yeah,
like some people would rather work at one spot and then move to a different area to get away from the work area because that's,
all
you
right.
know,
So Chris, let me show you my work area. Ready? This is my work area, and this is my gaming area. And
yes, you just
I just
turn
have to
your,
rotate
you
my
just
chair 90 degrees. That's
rotate
all.
your chair and that's it.
So this laptop here, this used to be the only thing I had, and these I used to stream on here like up until like less than a month ago. But now because of shoutouts to Mr. Ulta Maynard for donating enough parts to build me a tower. So now I'm using the tower purely as my gaming console. And I am using the laptop for other things aside from work, but it's been regulated to like right now it's going to be just a mostly work laptop, so I can just like separate the two. You know what I mean? I don't
Mm,
have to like when it comes down to it, I don't really care what happens to this laptop anymore in terms of the stuff on there because I've already transferred like 95% of it to my other computer or it's
yeah.
on the cloud. So, and this laptop is old. I think it's like 2014, I want to say. So it's 8 years old. It's definitely starting to show its age. As for hard drives, well, all the hard drives are HDDs, and it doesn't have as much RAM as like I think this tower has like 32 gigabytes of RAM. I think this has like not even half of that, not even 16. Maybe it has 8, maybe because
Yeah.
it's a gaming laptop. I'd have to check. I think it has 8, so it's literally quadruple the RAM. Um, and obviously I'm not limited by the small screen of the laptop anymore. So yeah, I kind of fully converted over to the PC at this point. Oh, the tower, I should say. What else have I been up to? I think that's it, honestly. I haven't been up too much this week. I've just been taking it pretty chill, honestly. Yeah, that's about it. So, Chris, I think it's time we I don't think we've ever rambled on this long before.
I
So,
don't think so,
it's,
especially me.
yeah,
Because usually my
apologies,
stuff's pretty small.
apologies to the viewers. I think we're just gonna kind of move on here to the news stories this week, Chris. So, I think did you want to start us off, or do you want me to?
Well, the one I guess you linked this one here. It has to do with like I think partially with another news story, but Gran Turismo 7 came out. And it seems that the online DRM is really screwing up the game, or the always online need for Gran Turismo 7, which is partially an offline game and partially an online game, is screwing up the game because there's Sony's servers and updates to them seem to be screwing up the game and people's ability to play a game because it requires an online connection constantly. Uh,
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this, but
yes, like
um,
I personally don't see the need ever for always online connections. This has always been an issue where they say you have to be always online, but then their servers are always offline or always broken, or like the Ubisoft launcher. You have to be online to be able to play any game, even your single player Assassin's Creed game that has no online connectivity whatsoever. Right? But you have to be online because we want you online. It, if I can awful, but if you want to go ahead, is I listened to this like right before the podcast, so
so Grand Theft Auto, Gran Turismo 7. From I have never played it. I never really played a Gran Turismo game before, so I'll put that disclaimer out there. But to my knowledge, Gran Turismo 7 is a single player game. So why do you need to have online DRM for a single
there's
player game? Well, apparently, was that
I was gonna say I do believe 7. There's a lot of online races. You
okay?
can race people's like ghosts and stuff like that. Like there is a lot of online connectivity, but
Functionality?
I do believe there is like the off or what should be single player and offline stuff too.
Okay. Well,
But
thank you for correcting me on that. See,
I
I
think
knew
so.
I think I knew I was wrong, but from what I read, whatever, I guess I kind of read the wrong thing. So apologies for making that mistake. Thank you for the correction,
Yeah, I
Chris.
want to
So
say it's partially live service as well, but I don't know for sure.
okay. So regardless, we're not really talking about the multiplayer because if this internet goes down or the service goes down, obviously the online portion is going to go down. We're not here to talk about that necessarily because that has nothing to do with the DRM. So the DRM for the single player is completely locked out. If their servers go down, you cannot even access the single player portion of the game.
Hmm.
Or you can, I think, but you're like limited to like one track and like a couple of cars sort of thing. So it's like very, very limited functionality. Um, and like this is not really an acceptable thing honestly in 2022. And like remember back in the day Diablo 3 had the same issue when the game launched and no one could log in for like the first like 2 or 3 days
Oh
because
yeah.
it was called error some number 137 or something stupid like that, and that became a meme
Hmm.
for a little while. Remember that was the thing back in the day for Diablo 3, and Diablo 3 is like what, like a 7 or 8 year old game at this
Well,
point,
do you
right?
remember? Um, what was it EA's City Builder? What was it called?
Oh,
Sim City.
SimCity.
How they
Yeah.
claimed that the game could be played, that their offline game could be played offline, and it had to be
Yeah,
always
right.
online.
Hmm. But anyways, going back to this issue, yeah, like this is just I think the someone made a good point when they said you should always call out the sort of thing because it's
Mm,
bullshit essentially, because it is. And the only reason why it survived this long is because people have become complacent with it because most people, not everyone, but most people are like, doesn't affect me. I have a good internet at home. I don't care. Doesn't affect me. That's why it survived all these years from Diablo 3, for example, until now. It's because people don't care. But that's coming from people need to realize that that comes from a position of privilege, right?
mm,
Not everyone has access to the best internet. For someone living in the country, they might even not have internet at all, or if they do, it might be like satellite internet. Like I know someone who's like that right now. Just due to where they're living, they have no choice but to do satellite internet, and they can't handle the speeds that you or me could handle, Chris, for example.
yeah,
Especially you. You have like god tier speeds, but you're also paying god tier prices for it. But
yeah,
anyways, yeah, it's it comes from a position of privilege. It doesn't concern about me. I don't care. Well, you should though, because you should at least agree that it's a bad thing for it to be in the game at all,
yeah.
right? Because it doesn't need to be there. And I think Sony makes Gran Turismo. Sony's excuse was, oh, well, we don't want people cheating their single player experience. I'm thinking, like, hello, have you not heard of like cheat codes built into games or game sharks? It's like if someone wants to modify their single player experience, that's on them. That has nothing to do with you. That's a it doesn't affect any other player, right?
Mm,
It shouldn't matter to the publisher or developer if they're cheating.
well,
Like, let
and
people
oh,
as
go
long
on.
as they're buying your game and not pirating it, because then you should give a shit.
Yeah.
But as long as they're buying it legitimately, let people play however they want. Whether they play 1 minute or 1,000 hours, you still have your same amount of money. There's no
Mm,
variable difference there.
yeah. And for them to claim that they don't want people to cheat their single player game, if it really doesn't matter. If they're going to go play online, they have to update their game. For them to cheat in on the PS4, they have to modify their console. So when you're going to go online, it would check what version of the game you have or console and automatically or try to automatically update it. So that would break those cheats. They wouldn't be able to use them or shouldn't be able to and stuff like that. So really, the only thing that they're trying to lock you out of is, you know, the online play itself or to stop you from cheating on that. It's not to stop you from cheating single player. Single player has nothing to do with the online. That's a different bloody thing. Like when you connect online, you connect to your account online and it checks all the stuff you've unlocked online. This is just a way of gating you into playing, partially when they want you to and how they want you to. It is kind of
Exactly.
gatekeepery, and it's bullshit when the server goes down and they go, "Well, we want you always online, but we're not always going to be online. Shame on you for not having trust in us, having our servers offline."
And I think we've kind of failed to mention this fact, Chris. I think the servers were, they said, oh, the game's going to be down for a couple hours. And then it turned out to be over 24 hours later. So people were like, what the fuck? Where's
Yeah,
my game I paid my money
yeah,
for?
they did some update and the update broke something and then people couldn't get online. Then they tried to put out another patch, which I think fixed it, but may not have actually fixed a lot of stuff because I think it broke other things. If this is the same patch that we may talk about right up after this, but yeah, it's the game has been borked like since it's a very early patch and has been here and there whether or not people could still go online. I
But
believe.
yeah, just like anything else in life, pick your fights. You shouldn't battle everything you see, every injustice, because that's not possible. And it's not feasible either. But as a gamer, when you hear about DRM, you should just immediately think, oh God, why? That's, something along those lines should be like your first thought. You shouldn't think, it doesn't really concern me, because that, as I said, I'm just a little mad that it still exists in this day and age, because I was a victim of that Diablo 3. I bought the game, I took a few days off, I couldn't play for the first like 2 or 3 days, right? That's how
Yeah.
I discovered about online DRM. I didn't really realize it before that. And ever since then, I've kind of seen it as a very bad thing that publishers or developers, I'm not sure which one, are putting in their games just to make sure that, as you said, Chris, they're being gatekeepers. Because if I choose to go back to like GoldenEye and activate a cheat code, they don't have any right to tell me how to play my game. I can play it whatever I want. I don't have any fun playing with cheat codes. Personally, like subjectively, they're anti-fun to me. But I'm not gonna think worse or less of anyone else who wants to have cheat codes in their games and have that sort of experience. That's not for me. First of all, I don't think this, but second of all, it's not right of me to think this. If I did think it, it's not on me to determine how someone else plays their game and judge them on that.
Mm,
That's what the companies are doing essentially
yeah,
when it
that's
boils down to it. It's like, oh, you're not playing the game the way we think you should. That's not for you to decide. That's not for anyone to decide but that player. As long, again, we're talking single player. Multiplayer is a different, completely beast because we don't want to ruin other people's experiences by cheating. That's an entirely different story. But we're not discussing that here. We're
mm,
discussing the single player portion specifically. No one should tell you how to play a game.
yeah. You should be able to play it the way you want. You bought it. If you want to modify it, I mean, within certain reasons, or rights, you should be able to. I believe anyway. But yeah, let people play the way they want, and don't try and lock them off out of their fucking experience in the game. If they want to play online, then they play by your rules because that makes sense. You want to make the playing field fair for everyone, but offline, who cares? Like that
Well,
doesn't.
Sony does apparently.
And so do a lot of people. They want to control everything you do.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we're good on that story,
I
Chris.
think so.
Right?
And
Okay, so I kind of know you wanted to segue into
might
the
as
next one. So
well,
go ahead.
since it has to deal with it partially in a way. So the actual Sony, I believe PS4 and PS5 updates didn't exactly go the way it was supposed to. Um, apparently a lot of the stuff has been fixed and is back up and running, but some stuff are still hit and miss. Apparently they had put out an update that was originally beta testing. It was supposed to allow you to do stuff like, create and join lobbies, like voice chat lobbies and stuff like that your friends made, and invite only stuff, which I don't know why that wasn't in the PS5 originally or PS4, whatever one that was for. Uh, PS5 would have received mono audio headphone support. Why wasn't that in the game or in this console already? That's kind of a no-brainer. Like the system's been out for over a year. Um, what else? There's based in the US and UK for voice command features were supposed to be coming out, but I don't think they were added in yet. I think that was slated now for a future release. Uh, refresh rates are be able to choose your refresh rate or have variable refresh rate, so go up and down to try and smooth out your gameplay, which is now being put out in a couple months. That might have been slated for this update, but was pulled back. But outages for the PSN network started around, what does it say? 8:30 Eastern, ET, is that Eastern time?
Yep.
According to Sony's status page, and then the issues impacted Sony's store. So you wouldn't be able to purchase games, download games that you've already had, update games, play games online. So Gran Turismo, and to name one, which is a Sony game. So you wouldn't have been able to do that. Sony, what's it called? The Sony Now. People play all their old games. A lot of that stuff wouldn't have been working because most of their network just went down after this update came out, and they've had to try to go back and figure out what happened and fix it. I don't know how many apps in general, like we'll say if you had Hulu or Netflix app on your PlayStation, I don't know if those worked or if they were affected. They probably have if it affected a lot of the online infrastructure of the PS4 and 5. This is a really bad update. So people like on social media, obviously when this happened, came out and started telling people don't update to the next firmware. It's breaking a lot of stuff, but that doesn't really help since if you actually want to do anything online on the system, you have to update to the next firmware. Doesn't matter if you just want to, look at your achievements. Sometimes you have to do an update to do that, right? I could be wrong in the last one, but I'm guessing so because that requires them to look online sometimes or to re-update. They always want to keep it updated. This is
So
so awful.
I have a quick update on the last story we just
Yes,
covered, the Gran
please.
Turismo 7.
Oh,
Just really quick. Yeah, because it got updated actually.
yeah.
So it was actually almost down for 2 days apparently, not just one. And as a result, and because of all the microtransactions in the game, and the developer, like the person, not the company, like the lead developer of the game defending the microtransactions, all that caused people to review bomb the game on Metacritic. And I just checked on Metacritic, it has about 5,500 negative scores, user reviewed scores,
Mm,
and the user review is sitting at 1.6 right now. So it's
ouch.
Sony's lowest rated game of all time,
Yeah, I
apparently.
mean, from what I've seen of the game, like Gran Turismo is a racing game. They did really good at making the cars look really shiny because racing games always are a good showpiece for consoles. They you make the game, make the cars look super shiny and everything else, and it usually pays off on its own. But it seems because of all this garbage, it's not gonna work this time. I mean, I feel
Yep.
bad for people who like Gran Turismo because they finally put out a new one, and this is what happens with it. And they want to turn into some live service, always online garbage, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it's just been this update has just kind of borked the entire infrastructure and has impacted other games as well. Like, obviously, like Sony bought games. Destiny probably can't be played. Anything that has any kind of online infrastructure is pretty much down, or it might be back up now, but I've heard it's kind of hit or miss depending on certain things. Kind of like with the Gran Turismo one, like it may be up, but don't be shocked if things are still kind of jank with that. Like I wouldn't be based on how much this hit. I don't have much to say other than that quick updates on that. They did put out like another patch to try and fix some of this, but I don't know how much of it actually fixed or patched in proper. I don't want to update my PS4 because of that. I mean,
Yeah, that's was that PS4 or PS5 specifically, or
PS4
both?
and PS5 is
Okay.
I'm guessing it was supposed to be one of the last updates come out for the PS4 because they want to stop supporting that as soon as they can, but because they don't have enough PS5 consoles out there, people can't update to the new console, so they have to keep the PS4 around longer than they wish. And yes, and they always put out updates for like a year or two after a console's been done to try and stop people from modding and hacking it and yada yada. So, and you know, it's what they always do because the PS3 stuff is still up and it's been 5, 6, how many years since the PS3's been done? So, you know, they still try and put out updates for these consoles. Yeah, it's just done. It's just hopefully it's back up and running. Hopefully it is. Like I haven't turned on my PS4 in forever, but I don't want to turn it on just to know I can't play my games. Like how shitty would this be if this affected offline games?
Yeah, it's as you said, like you need to have it on to friggin' like play online games, but then you don't want to turn it on because you don't want to
I don't want to turn it
update it.
on.
But like,
Yeah, I don't want to turn it on and have it find out it auto updated and now I can't play. If somehow it screwed up my save because of this. Like I know that's not an issue with this, but that's a fear. Like, what games do I have that I know that are offline games that actually require an online connection? Like,
right.
well, the basic fear of that, like, you know,
Yeah, and I think that's a legit fear, honestly, because like, well, everything's also backed up to the cloud, so I'm sure you'd be fine either way. But still, you don't want to
if if I
do
have
that.
PS Plus, I don't know if people who don't have PS Plus if they have that function. I don't pay for PS Plus because I don't do online play.
Mhm.
I barely do online play on PC, so there's like the odd game I do.
Mhm.
But I think we're done with that. There is another Sony related story very quickly.
Yeah.
So
So go ahead.
okay, I could do this. Sony bought another developer. Hooray! I guess I did not see in this news article for what amount, but they bought Haven Studios, a small, I guess we'll say indie company that was created by by the ex Assassin's Creed boss, or don't know what position we call him, uh, Jade Raymond. They had left them. Uh, I can't find on here what companies he was working for, but I guess it would have been Ubisoft or whatever group he was working for there. And they split up. He made Havensoft, and they were going to make some new games. And Sony said, "Hey, I see what you're doing here," and then swiped him up. Now they're making some for them a live service game. I don't live service triple A multiplayer game set in a new universe. Apparently, I I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I
means.
mean, here's my thoughts.
Mm,
They haven't even made a game yet, and Sony already bought them out. That
yeah,
seems like, to me, that just reeks of, oh God, Microsoft bought all these studios. We have to do the same, and they don't. They don't have anyone else to buy.
it
Like,
also reeks of we should buy them up before Microsoft does. This stinks of like what Sony and other music studios do with music artists. Well, they'll buy up certain music artists to prevent other companies from buying them. And they'll buy them and then just have them like maybe release an album or two in a few years just to keep them busy, but not actually like promote them a lot. You know, just say you can't have this as ours.
yeah,
That's
just
what
like
this kind of this doesn't. It kind of stinks of that a bit. Sorry.
under normal circumstances, this should not be a thing that happens. You shouldn't buy something before a company before they put their product out, for crying
Yeah,
out loud.
yeah.
Like,
You
that's
don't
not normal.
know.
That's not normal business. It's
You,
not.
you don't think so unless someone must have been greasing the wheels or whatever. Because yeah, it's not. It doesn't seem normal. You would usually wait till they release something before you buy them. Wouldn't Sony, if they wanted a company doing a live service game, just get one of their other devs to do it? Or are they all already working on live service garbage? They
It's
might actually
like,
all be busy.
you can't put a trailer saying brought to you by the studio ABC 123. It's like, who? Like, like, we don't know who these people are. So why you saying that? Like, there's no reason to do this except to be competition to Microsoft. That's
Yeah,
all. Microsoft was strategic and they took their time. This just sounds this just reeks of desperation to me. It's like, let's purchase these guys up right
yeah,
now, right
like Nintendo's purchase wasn't quite that, but Nintendo's purchase made sense. Yes, it was already a company that they were pretty much working with since the what Super Nintendo days or whatever it was. So that made 100% sense. This doesn't. This is like a new company that yeah hasn't made anything yet, and they just purchased them to go make another game for them, or a game they might have already been kind of working on, but now is being changed to this. I don't know exactly if they announced their game beforehand. But yeah, makes no sense. But they bought them, I guess. Hooray for them. No. Next news
now? Yeah.
story.
So let's see. So I think this is an important one to talk about. So apparently, in the States, in Florida specifically, there's a bill that has already been passed by legislation or by
Oh,
the politicians.
it has.
It's called "Don't Say Gay" bill. So apparently, what this bill is about, to my understanding, because again, we're not American and we're not Floridians either, I guess. Apparently, teachers are not allowed to talk about any LGBT characters from kindergarten to grade 3. That's all it is. Like, I'll just read here. It effectively makes it illegal for educators who teach kindergarten through the third grade to discuss queerness or queer people with their students, even though the concepts of sexual and gender identity are not actually taught at that level. So, yeah, that's just basically politicians not, for whatever reason, having a fucked up worldview that you know this needs to be a thing that needs to be done, that everyone needs to be signing and wasting their time on, even though it's wrong. Anyways, that's not what we're discussing specifically, but we did want to discuss how Disney shot money to support this bill. Essentially, like,
Yep.
they legit gave money to have this bill be a thing and support it. So yeah, a lot of people aren't happy about that. Not just people within Disney, although that's what the story's about actually. But a lot of people outside of Disney not very happy about that, especially when the mouse, what's it called, the House of Mouse, I believe, is supposed to be a very inclusive and family friendly place. That's basically been their thing since day one, right? But this says anything but that. So yeah, that was so stupid of Disney. And now there's employees within Disney, especially those who are affiliated or who are allies of the LGBT plus community. Um, they went on, I think this, they went on a walk, like a 15-minute walkout on, let's see, it was, so it was a week of virtual 15-minute walkouts beginning the day of March 15th. So about 8 days ago, as of the recording of this. And they were going to do a full day walkout, like a day long one on March 22nd, which is yesterday. So yeah, just to kind of protest, hey Disney, stop being assholes and stop, stop saying one thing and then doing another with the other hand,
Mm,
essentially. Stop being a hypocrite. If you're and stop even doing it in the first place. Like they wanted, like the whole walkout was like, hey, you need to like stop this right the fuck now. That's their main thing that they wanted to contend with. And then after that, it was, other factors like, you should contribute as much money, if not like double the amount, to some LGBT plus groups to kind of like make up for this essentially, and never do this again. And you guys need to change how you do things essentially. I'm just summarizing everything,
yeah,
but I'm not delving too deep into the into the details, but yeah, it's not a good look for Disney. That's
no,
that's really
they
bad.
they said something about after they done this, people got upset. Oh, we'll pause our donations to them. No, you should stop the donations to them
Yeah.
altogether. Not pause them, because this just means you guys. How long have you been giving money to these groups? Then probably a long ass time if they've already got them on speed dial to give them fucking money, and you only plan on pausing them. Like obviously, we know this is not the first time Disney has gone to get politicians and people like that on their side to help push bills like, upping how many years copyright
Yeah.
characters could stay within the hands of their respective copyright owners. But,
Mickey
more than
Mouse.
likely, a lot of those people are part of this group. And reason why a lot of these bills get pushed is because there's a bunch of fucking dinosaurs
Yep.
in politics, and there's not enough young people with fresh minds going in there. There's enough
Yep.
people going in there and being corrupted by the old, and not, try and not being a chance. Fuck, not given a chance to change things. Like, what's the average age of a politician? Like 50 something or older. Like, I want to say that's quite old. So,
Yeah. Um. Well, I was gonna say something, but I forgot now. Shit.
yeah, but this is really, really awful. Did you see on social media when this came out? I was wondering why this stuff was coming up until I saw this news article. Disney posted things saying, we are LGBT, pro, we like to support creators, yada, yada. And
No, you're fucking not.
all the comments above, below that were, no, you fucking not. Since when? Like, remember, like, Disney is the type of people who will take the Star Wars poster for the new Star Wars movies and digitally remove Finn, who's a black man, from their
Hmm.
posters to sell it in China.
Yep. I remember that.
Remember at the end of, I believe it's what, episode 9? Didn't they have a lesbian, like two women holding hands or something like that? And
Yes.
that was cut from the Chinese version of the movie.
Huh. I'm saying huh because, like, how can they say one thing and do another? It's
Yeah,
like,
like they will clearly edit and stuff like that. Um, Anything to appease different marketplaces already, and we already know where they stand. Like, there was a guy who worked for Disney, or is a guy who works for an animation studio that was commenting on it, saying something like that we could put in all the stuff that we want that's for the LGBT community, stuff like that, but we have no control what happens in the final product. Someone could just go in there and just cut all that stuff out, and it can make the product that you're trying to make look like it's anti that, like anti the message we were trying to say, and we have no control over that, which wouldn't surprise me if that happened with uh, certain movies that Disney specifically has been trying to make and claim that they are all inclusive.
yeah, you're right about that lesbian couple at the end, but that's what I was gonna say. I can't remember, but you just reminded me of one.
Hmm.
So I guess that it's not entirely true anymore, but I can't remember a single thing in Disney that Disney owns right now, including Marvel, or well, actually Marvel does have some, I think. Like that has gay or lesbian couples or whatever, like anything with the LGTP. I can't think of
I
anything, but
can't.
like
There's
not off the top of my head. I know there is something in the Marvel
there's
universe.
no
I
one that is in the forefront that they'll show off. There'll be a background character somewhere.
yes,
Like
just
do you
kind of like a
remember?
token black guy,
Didn't what's her
essentially.
name who's playing Miss Marvel get basically banned or stop not being able to play that role anymore because she said something about supporting LGBT?
Yeah, no, no, no. I forget what she said specifically. I think she was it was something anti some group, and Marvel didn't like that she said that.
But yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but God, I don't remember. But yeah, like they'll be quick to to try and silence people if they think it doesn't fall in with their oh well we have to appease or crap. I was gonna say something, but now I can't say it in the right way. I was gonna say appease everyone, but that's not exactly what's going on because they're not. We have to appease the people who will make us the most money, and we
Yes.
will. I guess is the best way to put it without putting it in a good way. So yeah, like this is really fucking awful for them to say one thing and then switch it around with the other hand as they're choking the life out of the same thing with the
Exactly.
other hand. Like
Hmm.
Mickey Mouse and everything within Disney is not a good thing. People should stop. I personally think people should stop supporting them. But it's really hard when they have all the money in the world and they just buy up everything you like or
Yep.
want. So,
Yep.
like, and isn't this supposed to be stopped through the governments and capitalism until Disney throws them, a few $1 million to line their banks?
Pretty much. I mean, why do you think Mickey Mouse isn't in the public domain when he should have been there? Like,
He
excuse
should.
me, like a couple times over at this point. I
Yeah, I
think.
mean, Winnie the Pooh's in the public domain now.
Is he?
Hooray! Yeah,
Okay. Who owned Winnie the Pooh
I don't know,
originally?
but there's a
Christopher
funny.
Robin.
There's a ha ha ha. Actually, wasn't Christopher Robin the name of the uh
Yes, of
man?
the son.
Yeah, something
That
like that.
that I wasn't joking. You said ha 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 ha. I wasn't actually joking.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember. I'm like, I'm sure it was the full name or part of their name. Yeah. So anyway, putting stuff in the public domain is not a bad thing. They just want to have that stranglehold on everything they own, and try to claim things that aren't theirs as theirs, like all of the classic Disney movies, like
Yes,
Cinderella. They try to
you told me
claim,
this.
yeah, they try to claim that those are theirs when they don't own them. They don't own the rights. They own the version that they made. They don't own the
Mhm.
rights to the original source, which I believe they tried to claim before. Could be wrong on that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they try to say that the original, um, is it Brothers Grimm's stories were theirs, which they're not. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's it for the story. This is just fucking gross that they would continue to do this, and we know they will continue to do this.
Worse, yeah. They will, or at least they'll try. And as you said, they tried to squeeze it in there. We will pause. No, you should stop
Yeah,
entirely.
I think.
It's that like the kind of we're kind of peeking behind their mask when they say that, you know.
Yeah, I think we'll do one more, and I think we could call it a day there if you'd like, since
Sure,
we're
but it sounds
hitting.
like you already have a
No,
plan. Which one?
uh,
Oh no.
no plan. So you can bring up the last one. I was just looking at the time, going, yeah, maybe we'll save the last two for next time. So you go ahead and pick the last one, and
I think we'll do the one you brought up then.
as we
You
look
were part.
through,
Yeah. So the one about there's a lot of small indie studios right now
hmm,
with abusive workplaces. So I feel like, especially, most people, including us, Chris, we only cover like because it's in the news. We only really cover the big AAA studios, or like not, maybe like a studio or two below that level. But
hmm,
when we talk about indie game studios, abuse is not really abuse, toxicity, hostile work environments is not really something we hear a lot
yeah,
about. But now it's become I can't talk apparently. It's come to light that apparently there's a few small slash indie game studios that have had a very abusive work environment. So one of them is People Make Games.
I think
Sorry, no,
they
no,
were the
sorry,
one
that's sorry,
investigating.
yeah, yeah, sorry, but yeah, yeah. So People Make Games were the one who did this investigation, and they know three indie studios Mountains, who made Florence, Fulbright, who made Gone Home, and Tacoma. I played both of those games. Those are good games actually. And Phenomena, that one I never heard of. Watam, who made Watam. They did kind of, some were interviews, some were exit interviews with them, and just to kind of see how they were treated, and they all had high levels of toxicity in them. One of them was even saying that I think like the studio lead, they had to make a safe word for every employee. um I think it was the word pause. Yeah, it was the word pause, that when he would talk to you, because there's a lot of one-on-ones he did with like every employee, when he talked to you, if they ever got to the point where he was becoming hostile, they had a safe word. You just had said pause and he would immediately end the conversation right there and then. Like, and another employee made a point like, what kind of studio needs a safe word? Like, for someone, it's like, that's a red flag. That's not even a red flag. That's like a red monument. you
Yeah,
know?
you
It's like,
you shouldn't have to be so afraid of the abuse of like verbal language, even if it is just that, just him being so verbally aggressive, and that you have to have a safe word so that you could get some fucking air. They also like, because of the 101, a lot of people didn't want to do one-on-ones with him at all and would want to request having other people there because he would go off the handle, apparently. And he didn't like that because he wanted to have that power over people. This this guy that they're talking about here, like it's like people would try to decline one-on-ones because of this, and that's why they had to make a safe word.
yeah.
So fucking awful. Like holy shit. So
And
sorry.
also, another studio was the studio who made Ori and the Blind Forest and its sequel Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which is Moon Studios. They also have what's quoted to be an oppressive place to work.
Yeah,
So
apparently as well.
yeah, I'm glad that at least this is coming to light now, because like, again, as I said at the start, we haven't, like, no one's really covered the small studios, because just because the big studios are big doesn't mean that this is a problem exclusive to them, right? It can exist with just two people technically. One person can be toxic to another.
Mm,
That's a thing, you know.
yeah, like
That's why a lot of divorces happen, to be honest. But
yeah.
yeah,
Um
um,
so another one of these stories is like Robin Hanekel from Fundamental, sorry, was described as being amused. Jeez, I'm also stumbling over my words. Being emotionally abusive, who would regularly use personal information about workers to harass, humiliate them, try to oppress them, uh, and stuff like that. So any kind of information he could get off of them to try to control the employees or make fun of them. Like
it's disgusting.
that is not how a person running the fucking company, like the founder of the company, should be acting. These are people who ended up getting into positions of power and just think they could do what they want.
Yep.
Like, and these are not the people who should be running these companies at all. They showed how immature they are and how they don't know how to control any amount of power they could get a hold of. This is so awful. Like
Yep.
you think that a lot of these stories would not be like this even in indie devs, but apparently they are because you never hear about these stories. Fearful for what other stories we'll get from other indie devs like this since people are talking out about it.
Yeah, I mean, not really much else to say aside from that. It's just, I wish there would be more investigations, because honestly, maybe the smaller ones need a better, or need it more than the larger ones, because the larger ones, it's going to be damn near impossible to hide just because there's so many people. And the indie studios is obviously a lot less people, right? Like one of the places, I forget which one of the three that they investigated, but one of them only had 24 employees. So it's a lot easier to hide things. It's a lot easier. So arguably they need it more, because just because, there's still a human being. It doesn't matter where they work, whether large studio, small studio. Maybe, you know, it's going to be easier to expose in a large studio and you get a larger set of people that you help out once. But at the same time, everyone deserves a, you know, a decent, more than decent, a positive work environment, right? Everyone deserves to be able to not have to worry about any of this bullshit they work, because inevitably this is going to bog down your work when it happens. Even if you don't think so, on an unconscious level, it's almost certainly going to.
Mm,
That's the result. There's no way around, around that. It's definitely going to happen. So, and it's not just the work, it's also them as a person. They need to, you don't want this. You don't, this is like this is not what you signed up for. It's not. You didn't agree to get paid and work here to get yelled at or get abuse thrown your way, or to have to defend yourself on a daily basis, or whatnot. You shouldn't
mm,
have to worry about that. It's unneeded stressors in your life. So yeah, I hope more of these investigations happen. It's going to be harder because there's so many indie studios, but yeah, I mean, at least now there's a spotlight on it,
yeah.
on the
You,
very least.
if if more and more of this information gets out there, you'd think at least with the indie devs it could get fixed up easier since they're usually are smaller studios.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it seems like for some companies, when they look at the publisher and stuff like that and ask them, "Can't you do anything about it?" A lot of them just go, "We can't do anything. We don't have that much control." It's like, so you can't do anything about it. Like, what the hell? Like the the people make games who publish some of these games or games from other companies say have come out and said that we have limited control over what we can and cannot make the companies do themselves. So it's kind of shitty that it's like that. But if more and more people start talking about this stuff, maybe more and more companies will start bloody changing because
Yep.
I think it's unacceptable that this keeps happening and more
Yep.
studios are exposed.
Agreed. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this episode, Chris. We'll cover the two stories we missed today on next week. If that's all
Yep.
right with you. Okay.
Yeah, I think so, just because we're running close to two. So, well, we can't ramble on a lot longer than we usually do, but
We, we.
way I don't know where
y-
I was going with that.
No, I'm like we. I mean like
Oh, I
you.
know
Oh,
exactly
I'm
what you
kidding.
meant.
Okay.
But yeah, I think
All
that's
right.
it. Uh, I guess find me Twitch on Prince_Kaboom. It's where we do the podcasts, and I try to stream. Usually it's like early mornings because that's the only time I really get a chance to a few days a week. So I gotta like update my schedule to put it on there so people know when I'm up. So
Hmm.
get that stuff up. But I'm kind of sporadic with my streaming as well. So but I'm probably gonna be doing later tonight and for the next little bit, Final Fantasy One Pixel Remaster. Get through that and maybe finally beat it. uh, I guess if I ever upload anything, it's on MrPrinceKaboom on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at CSCHABANG. That's Chris C Shebang and Chris_ uh, Shebang on Instagram. I use those two usually to update my when I'm streaming and or uh, anything I like or post my cosplay photos and stuff like that. So here and there, whatever else I'm up to is up on there. And what about you, Sorb and
You can
Shawn?
find
I
me
guess.
mostly on Twitch at Zorb _Zex. You can also find me on that same name on YouTube and Twitter and TikTok. All my socials are on my Twitch anyway, so that's kind of my main thing. But yeah, I have an Instagram as well. It's a period instead of an underscore between the two names. Yeah, I've just been streaming, as I said before, a lot of Stranger of Paradise. I do want to kind of mix things up a little bit. Um, I do kind of want to start streaming not the same game every day because I am streaming so often now. Maybe that's a smart thing to do. But at the same time, I want to play the game very badly, so I'm still trying to decide what I should do.
Yeah,
I think I'll be bringing back Freaky Friday, so I'll be probably playing a scary game like Five Nights at Freddy's. I'll continue that series probably on Fridays is what I'm thinking maybe
yeah.
I should do.
It's nice to have a change here and there, like maybe one day a week or whatever, where you change up the type of game you play. Just give
Yeah.
yourself a break.
I don't want the break. I want to keep playing this thing. Anyways, um yeah, so you can find me on there. I do stream most nights now. So yeah, I'd love to have you on the stream and we can chat. And that's about it for me, Chris. So you want to wrap things up for us?
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all. Thanks everyone for tuning in, listening, whatever you do. Check us out on our stuff. Support, like, favorite, subscribe. Yada yada yada. You know how to do. Thank you everyone. Goodbye.